Hi, this is Jack Stanley, and I want to talk about something that I'm seeing happening in the news on college campuses, uh, on the internet, social media, and that is an attack on various individuals by what they said many years ago. Attacks on individuals of statements they made when those statements had relevance. Attacks that are made upon individuals in which what they were talking about was important to talk about then. Now, it's something very important we have to think of here. And I'm really getting tired of seeing the stupidity in colleges, which were, sites of higher learning, supposedly, that statues are torn down, plaques are taken off walls, and portraits are taken off walls. And statements that were made years ago by people who may still be living are used against them as being unfit for our current age. Now, can you think of something more stupid than this? Let's just say something. Let's say that talking about the television show The Simpsons is quite relevant today. Now, what would happen 50 years from now if The Simpsons were looked upon as something abhorrent and that civilized individuals of that time would take offense and take physical attacks upon perhaps a statue of you or even your person as you are over what you said back then, because the Simpsons are no longer looked upon as important to talk about. Now, I realize it's kind of silly what I'm saying, but just think about this, because what people are saying today is equally silly. Very equally silly. You see, and I have said this before, and I'm sure many a person has said it before, that you can never judge history. You can never judge individuals of a different time with the mores of the present moment. Just as we cannot be judged by the mores of the past, we do not fit. And on the other side of the coin is those folks from history do not fit in our world. This is only natural. This is only sensible. This only is rational thought that you can't compare. It's apples and oranges. And yet, listen to all these nutcases. Listen to some of these real bizarrely and frighteningly uneducated individuals who just graduated talk about people of the past, talk about what they did, talk about what they said, and they are willing to go on the absolute warpath over this. It doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense if you're ignorant about history. And I have made it my bully pulpit to expose the stupidity that we possess when it comes to history. We don't understand it at all. And what's even worse is people today of prominence in social media, a vast majority have no understanding of it either, but they are totally and completely willing to attack it out of ignorance. And yet, the same people who are attacking it have followers, millions of followers, who will just rally around this individual when they talk about their ignorance. and agree with them. Doesn't it seem like a really bizarre science fiction thing from like the 60s, maybe the Twilight Zone, where suddenly ignorance is looked upon as a high form of influence, and that people attack history as if the history had just taken place yesterday? It doesn't work that way. And as I said, Lord help a lot of the people around today who might like The Simpsons. Maybe years from now, that'll be looked upon as something drastic and awful. So I know this is a little tongue-in-cheek, I realize, but you know something? It isn't that much, because there's an awful lot of stupidity, an awful lot of arrogance, and it's promoted as cutting-edge intellectual prowess. Pretty sad, isn't it? Pretty frightening. You know, if a lot of these people back in history had a chance to talk to the folks around today, they would eat them alive, basically just because they'd be so much more educated and have a sharper prowess and understanding of debate and in history. You can bet the people 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years knew their history. They knew how things worked. Some of the stuff they didn't know because it took more technology to discover. But think about it. The next time you hear these people saying, "Did you read about what blah, blah, blah wrote 30 years ago? It is racist, or it's bad, or it's homophobic, or it's transphobic, or it's Islamophobia," or whatever it may be. Any one of these wacko terms has a ready audience and a ready individual who will rally against them with rampant and unedited ignorance. And let's hope this changes someday. Otherwise, this will truly finish off this country. I hate to say that, but we have some serious issues here, and a lot has to do with our ignorance, our arrogance, which is the ugly sister of ignorance, and our complete understanding of how happy we are in those two different forms of existence. Thank you.